God never intended nor desire for you to be a single mother and stay that way. No. I get it, things happen. But it is God's desire that you will find a godly man. And if you have a child, a man that will come into your life and love you, love your child or love your kids and be able to build from there, right? So that's what you need. That's what you need. Hey, what's going on? Matthew Taman here. Every week, every month, I get questions from people about different subjects. I get questions from how do I start a business to, family, to ministry, to God and relationships, tons of questions. So today, one of the questions that someone asked, right, and they asked, how, it was from a lady. She asked, how do I attract a godly man? Now, that is a really important question. Because I do get tons of relationship questions from, a lot of women wanting to know about this and just different things. So if that's a question that you have been asking, if that's a question that you're probably wondering, right, and you're thinking, how do I attract a godly man? Well, before I dive into that, right, I want you to understand something. I want us to first define what a godly man is. Because there's so many of you that are saying you want to attract a godly man, but you don't even know what that looks like. You don't know what that sounds like. You don't know what that feels like. So right off the back, you're attracting the wrong people thinking that you're attracting godly men. So what is a godly man? What does he look like? What does he sound like? What does he want? What is he looking for? Now, there's a list that I have here. Now, there's a lot of other things that's probably not on this list, but I want to give you guys at least 6 different qualities of a godly man. Now, I'm not talking about a godly man based on society standard, right? I'm talking about a true godly man. So the first thing that a godly man, right, has a personal relationship with the Lord Jesus, right? Godly men have that relationship with the Lord. Because that's important. That's important because that is what keeps us going. That is what keeps us motivated. That is our foundation. So someone that have that relationship with the Lord, I'm not talking about someone who is just faking it. There are people who just fake it just to, say that they do, but they really don't. So someone that has a genuine, authentic relationship. And ladies, you can sense when a man has an authentic relationship with the Lord. It just comes through. He don't even have to try to force it. It's just second nature to him, right? So you got to look for that, right? That's one of the things is, does he have that relationship with the Lord? Because here's the thing. Now, I'm not saying that, man, that we're perfect, right? But when you have a godly man that has a personal, genuine relationship with the Lord Jesus, right? Anytime that he needs to make a decision, and this is so important, anytime that he needs to make any major decisions in your relationship with them, he is always going to consult the Lord first. It's not going to be about him. He's going to ask, okay, God, I want to do this. What do you think? So that's why it's so important for you to make sure that the manly God you have that personal relationship. Because if you get involved with a man that is not a true godly man and he doesn't consult the Lord, doesn't pray about things, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble because he is going to do what he thinks is best. And sometimes I get it, man. We try to make that push, right? But if you don't have the Lord behind you in your decision making, you're mostly going to regret 99% of the decisions that you make because it's going to backfire. So a godly man is someone that has that relationship, and they are a man of prayer. A godly man is a man of prayer. Listen, you're going to face difficult times in life. You're going to have times when you just want to give up. You need a man that's going to be there to hold your hands and pray for you. Like, listen, you're going to be okay. No matter what you go through, they will pray for you. They will fast for you. They will cry out to God for you. They will lift you up in prayer. So that's one of the things. The next thing is you want a responsible man. There are a lot of men today that are not responsible. I was watching this video and they were talking about the quality of men that's out there, right? And it's so true. The ladies, she was just saying that she, try to date different men, but she realized that the quality of men that out of, maybe this might be an exaggeration, right? But out of 10,000 men, she said that there's probably maybe 100 that you can kind of sift through. And out of that 100, by the time that you narrow it down to quality, right, it's probably maybe 3 or 4. And that is so true, because godly men are responsible men. A godly man is someone that God has put through a process. And I'm going to touch on that in the next point, right? But someone that is responsible, they take care of their responsibilities. They don't run away from it. Of all the lessons that I've learned from my dad, one of the biggest lessons that I would have to say that I learned from him, just from observing, is responsibility. My dad always told us to be responsible. Take care of your responsibility. Don't run away from it. Do not run away from responsibility. So a responsible man, a godly man, is a responsible person. That means they're responsible with their time. They're responsible with their resources, and they're responsible with what direction that they're going in life. They're very responsible. So, but more on that later on. So the next thing now, excuse me, number 3 is they're not a womanizer. We live in a world that people think that all men just want to sleep with 3, 4, 5, 6 different women. And now there are a lot of men that are like that, a lot. And I hear it all the time, excuse me, from women. They're saying that, listen, I'm with this guy and he's with like 3 or 4 other women and this and that. A godly man is a man that is a one-woman man. Now, society is going to tell you otherwise. Like, get all the women, get 3, 4, 5. That's not healthy for you. That's not only healthy for you. That's not right. But it's not healthy for you as a man to jump there, because you end up getting involved in so many unnecessary drama. I was talking to someone about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think, and they're in their 40s now. But they said that when they're in their 20s, this person, they have like 16 kids, 16 or 14 or 16 kids. And he said that, when he was in his 20s and early 20s, late 20s, he would just bounce around to different women. He got a woman like almost every different state, right? Kids here, kids there. But he realized that was a big mistake to do that. And he really regretted. He don't regret the kids that came from that. But he regretted just being so flamboyant all over the place, right? So a godly man is a man that is not a womanizer. He will adore you. I mean, you are going to be the apple of his eye. And I'm going to explain how do you become the apple of a godly man's eyes, right? And you're going to be that. He is going to cherish you. He is going to make sure that you're the only woman that he desires, that he wants to be with. Society tells us that men are dogs. That's not true. Generally speaking, for the most part, right? Because people try to live according to the world standard. But I'm talking today about godly men that have the fear of the Lord in them. Men that they care more about being disobedient to God by slipping around, by hooking up, right? Because they know that that's not pleasing to the Lord. There are still men like that out there. I see women all the time, post, they talk, my man, where are the men that are not womanizers, just that one woman man? God can bless you with a one woman man. I'm telling you, he really can. A man that is going to be just all about you and nobody else. It's possible. All right. So the next thing too is to build you up. A godly man is going to look for ways to build you up. Because the truth is, and I'm going to touch a little bit more on that later on, but he would try to find ways to help to build you up, right? in different areas too. I know that you probably bring a lot to the table, but he's going to look for ways. How can I build her up? What can I do to make her life easier? When you find a genuine godly man that have been through the process and he's allowed the Lord Jesus to process him, he will make your life the best on this world because he wants to please God. And when he pleases God by pleasing you, let me say that again. A godly man pleases God by pleasing you. So he would find ways to build you up, right? And that's to be able to impart things in you, to be able to help you, to be able to just kind of push you, because the truth of it is you have a lot of this independent women mindset today, this boss chick type of, attitude. But most women by nature, right, they're not that way. By nature, by their design, they don't want to be this always going out there to hustle to make the money, to do all this. They don't want to do that by their nature. They do that sometimes because they have to, right? And I'm going to touch on that a little bit more, but they do that because they have to. They feel like I have to do this. But when you find a godly man, he's going to alleviate that pressure from you, right? Now, I'm not saying you just stay at home, you do nothing. No, I'm not talking about that, but he's going to help you build up. Another point is a godly man has a mentor or a positive role model. One of the things that saves so much headache is to have a role model, someone that you can say, you know what, this person, this is what I desire or I'm aiming to be like, right? I mean, of course, you just don't want to be like the Lord Jesus. I get that. But an earthly person that you can say, you know what, I see this person and I like how they take care of their wife, how they take care of their kids, how they handle responsibilities. So I desire to be that. By having a role model, someone that can pour into them, they are going to be the best that you can desire in a man, because their role model is going to help them to know what to say, what not to say, how to behave, how to treat a woman, how to talk to her. And by having that role model, when they get in that relationship with you, they're going to get some quality gems from that role model. When you go through hard times in your marriage, when you're trying to figure things out, they go back to a mentor, and a mentor have already been through the process. They've been through the fire, so they know what to help you to avoid. And I'll tell people this, I don't want to learn from experience anymore. I really don't, because the pain that comes with it, right? You lose so much with it. You go through so much, by learning from experience. I would rather learn from a mentor, someone that has been through the ropes. They've been through the heartaches. They've been through the ups, the downs, the left and the right, and they can help me or help them to navigate the right path to go. And then number 6, this is key to a godly man, someone that wants a family. Men, as men get older, they want a stable family. They're not looking to be all over. They just want to know that, listen, I work hard, go to work, take care of the bills. When I come home, I want to come back to my family. Men desires that to come back to a family, right? Because that's just in us, that protective nature, that caring nature, to just know that, you know what, I've had a long day at work. I've been doing this. I'm taking care of my family. Let me come back now and I just want to come home. I want to come home to a lovely wife. I want to come home to a nice home, to kids. They want all that, right? So those are some of the 6 qualities. When we talk about a godly man, even before you start to go out to look for one, I want you to have that list, look for those things in a godly man. Now, I want to give you 5 ways to attract one, biblical ways to attract one. So the first one is, if you want a godly man, you got to be a godly woman. There's no ways around that. There's no ways around it. Now, the definition of a godly woman, means a lot. So I want to give you some things. So how do you be that way? Well, it's to have a relationship with the Lord, because men, we're looking for women that can, spiritual, support is huge for a man, a godly man. spiritual support, someone that can get in a fight with you, the spiritual warfare, that can get in the ropes with you in terms of prayer, in terms of the word, and just in terms of spirituality. Because as men, here's the thing, we deal with a lot, especially as of men of color. We deal with 3 times, probably 10 times more what the average man deals with. So when you have a woman that can back you up spiritually, that can be there, I'm telling you, that makes all the difference. And we can tell if she's genuinely in love with the Lord or not, because there's some women that put their facade on, that they love Jesus. They want to go to church to find a good man. And once they do, boom, they back to their old ways. You're like, what in the world? What happened? Who are you? Where'd you come from? I'm more about that later on. But also in how you speak. The Bible said this. It says, pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul, and health to the bones. The way that you speak, and I'm going to cover that later on, the way that you speak has a lot to do with it. The way that you speak, if you got a really, really foul, dirty, disrespectful mouth, and no godly man wants that. We don't desire that at all. At all, godly men do not look for that. They don't desire that. Right now, there's a place for a little bit of, dirty talking here and there, but, it got to be balanced, and more than that later on. But also how you dress. Now, I see women do this all the time. They put up this thirst traps, right? They want to show this. They want to show that. They show their cleavage. They want to show, and their thongs, their bikinis and all that stuff. Now, while a godly man would not want that, because for him, that's like, So ladies, you don't have to dress that way to attract a godly man. Trust me, even with a man that have a problem with a vision problem, he can tell the shape of a woman 2 miles away. Even with a man that have issues seeing, I'm telling you, he can tell the shape of a woman miles away. Because by design, God has put that inside of us. We can tell just like that. So you can wear baggy clothes. Sometimes you can dress modest. We can tell that you have a good shape. We can tell that you got what we're looking for, right? And there's some men that have different desires. Some men want big boobs or big booties or, big this and that. But you don't have to try to flaunt it out like that. Because it's like, if you flaunt it out like that and like that, then anybody, we want it to be exclusive. Men want the bodies of the women that they're going to build to be exclusive. That's only meant for them to see. And in marriage, you don't want someone that's like, oh my goodness, they're posting this half naked picture today, have that, a godly man, those that are pretending to be godly men, they would want to sleep with that type of woman, but not to marry that type of woman. They won't want to marry because they just know if she posting like this, if she's carrying herself like this, if I marry her, that's how she's going to be. And most of the time, that's how it ends up being. So they want to just sleep with her and live it at that, but nothing more than that. And that's not what you want, right? So to be a godly woman, number one, godly woman. The next point too is you want to be a helpmeet. The Bible said that when God looked at Adam, he's like, nah, it's not good for man to be alone. I need to make him a helpmeet, someone that is going to be there to help him, someone that is going to be there to really help him. So what is a helpmeet, right? Someone that can help him to accomplish the purpose, the vision that God has given him. And we're living in a society today where some women are like, you know what? I got to do my own thing. I don't need to, be pushing his vision. That's his dream. That's not my dream. That's why you're still single. That's why you won't find any quality man. That's why you will not find any man with high value, right? High values. Not just a man with high value, but high values. Because God has given us men a vision. We have plans. A godly man always have a vision for his life. Let me say that again. A godly man, a true, genuine godly man always have a vision for his life. So when he's looking for a woman, he's not looking for a girlfriend. He's looking for a wife. How can this woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with, How can she help me to accomplish things for my destiny and also for the family? You know, a godly man always have the family agenda at the forefront of his mind. It's not about him. He's looking to say, what can I do for my family? And how is this woman going to help me? Now, if he doesn't have any kids yet, then of course he looks at that. If he has kids, he's looking to say, if I bring this woman in my life, how is she going to help me with my family, with different things? So you have to be that helpmate. A woman that's about purpose, a purpose woman. She's all about building generational wealth. Generations are part of her DNA. You know, I was watching a story a few months ago that really just touched me and blessed me. And it was about this older couple. They're like almost 100 years old, right? And the wife did something that most women today, they just don't want to do it. And this is the reason why her family is so successful. She did this. She said she wanted to be a nurse. Her husband was working. He wasn't making a whole lot of money, but he was making enough to take care of the family. So she realized that they had like 4 kids. She realized that if I go out to pursue this nursing thing, it is going to destroy her family. So she had to make a decision. Do I go do me and destroy my family? Or do I take care of my kids and build up the family for future generations? So she made a tough choice and she gave up nursing. Now, I'm not saying for those of you career women that you got to give everything up. I want you to listen to this. But she understood that her children's future were much important than her wanting to just do her. So you have a lot of this boss chick today, boss women today that I'm independent, I could do it by myself. I don't need a man. And then later on in life, they regret that decision. It always comes as a regret. So she decided to give that up, work with her husband to take care of the family. Now, taking care of the family doesn't mean that she was just sitting at home doing nothing all day. No. She helped. They had a business. So she was helping with the business. She was helping with the organization. She was helping with managing that. And because she helped them, they became successful. And today their kids are like doctors and lawyers and really influential people and extremely successful. Her kids, all of her kids got married because they saw what the mom modeled in the home. Her grandkids that have aged to get married are married. So there's a certain level of stability because she made up in her mind that she wants to be a helpmate. See, when you want to be a helpmate, ladies, listen to this. When you want to be a helpmate for a man, it's a sacrifice because you have to put down certain things for the better of the family. It's not just, it's for the betterment of the entire family because you're not thinking 20, 30 years later. You have a lot of this boss chicks that they just think about just now, but they're not thinking about the impact that it's going to have on your kids 10 years, 20, 30 years later, right? And I've heard so many women that made that sacrifice and it paid off big time. And they're enjoying life today because if you don't take care of your kids today, when you get older, they won't take care of you. You won't have that relationship there. So number 2, be a helpmeet and always think in terms of generation. Just don't think about just temporary stuff now. You might be fulfilled temporarily, but down the line, it is going to backfire. It always does. And number 3, be respectful. You know, men, we associate love with respect. When you want to love us, respect us. Listen, for those out there, ladies, if you don't tell your husband that you love him for the rest of his life, then that brother won't care. He wouldn't even care if you don't say I love you. Because, I mean, love, you say you don't, we can go. Like, we don't really, that don't mean much to us. What love is to us is respect. And there are a lot of women today that they've lost that respect for the men. They have no respect at all. I mean, blatantly disrespectful. No man wants to be with a disrespectful woman at all. We don't desire that. Men don't desire that at all. Even if it's not in a relationship, even if it's just been in like in a business type, you don't want to be with someone that's disrespectful. So you want to respect him. You want to be a woman that is of great respect, because men can see that. We can be able to tell if she's been genuinely respectful. And I've heard so many women that have reaped the benefits of being a respectful and a submissive wife. Now, when people think about being submissive, they think, I'm not talking about walking around with your head down. No, that's not being submissive. It's in your actions, right? And I remember watching a video about this lady. She was talking about how she wanted to, they went to look for a house, and the house was good, had all the things they needed. And she wanted that house. She wanted to live in that neighborhood. She wanted to live in that. But her husband made a decision. Now, listen, now it's not the best time for that. And she said, and initially she was ticked off. She was angry, but then she calmed down and she said, you know what? She went with him. She didn't go and try to, fight him and do something else. And later on, not only were they able to get a better house than what they saw in the same neighborhood, but everything worked out better. So being submissive sometimes it's a challenge for a lot of women today, especially Western women. Especially Western women. Now, I'm not talking about being abused by a man. That's another thing. That's a whole another video that I can do about that. Okay. But being submissive doesn't, make you less of a woman. Actually makes you a stronger woman. The strongest women on the planet are submissive women, because your submission gives you a certain amount of power. If you want to control a man, be submissive. I'm telling you, that's a secret. If you want to control a man, I'm not talking about playing mind games. But if you want to get your husband to do almost anything for you, be a submissive wife. I'm telling you, he will move heaven and earth for you, because there's something about your submission that attracts a godly man. Like, you know what? She needs me. We can work together. There's someone that I can be able to, we can do things together. There's not someone that, just is so headstrong. So be respectful. If not, you're going to find out that the type of men you attract, or you're going to get a man all right, but you're going to get the wrong type. And there's so many of you, you've been getting the wrong type of man. You've been getting everything opposite of what you really desire. Are you respectful? There's some women, you can't tell them nothing. You can't tell them nothing at all. They don't want to hear it. They want to do what they want to do when they want to do it. No godly man wants that or needs that, and they'll run away from it. All right. The next one, number 4, is be healed, right? Because so many women, they move from relationship to relationship without ever being healed. You don't want to go in a relationship, 50% healed and say, you know what, maybe this man is going to fix me. No, that's the wrong mindset. You need to come into a relationship healed, right? All the baggage that you have from your past, all the baggage that you carry back, you have to be really healed from that. You have to be. You cannot go into the next one and you're not healed, because you're going to bring so much baggage from the previous relationship into a good relationship. Now you're messing that one up. So there are a lot of people that have, gotten married without being healed from their past, and their past showed up big time, and it ended up destroying that marriage or causing a lot of stress in there. So if you're not healed from your past, let the Lord heal you. And healing is something that takes time. Healing is not something that happened in 1-2 months, right? Especially if you've been in certain type of relationships or certain type of men. There's so many women that they've been into certain type of relationship with certain type of men, and you haven't gotten healed from that. It's been just one type of unproductive man after the next, and you go through a series of those, and now it's like you're not healed, and you've caused so much damage to yourself. You've given so much of yourself to different people that never deserved it, and it takes time to heal from that. Unfortunately, I want to say this. Unfortunately, most women never get healed. They never get healed because they never take that time to genuinely get healed. As I mentioned before, healing is a process. Sometimes it can take years to be healed, but not everyone is willing to take those years to properly get healed. They just want to go from this and they can say things like, you know what? I'm not dating anybody. I'm not with anybody, but they're slipping around with different people. You will never get healed while you keep slipping around with different people. Just because you're not in a relationship, you're slipping around with them and you're bringing more baggage. So during your healing process, you're focusing on you. You're not slipping around with anybody. No friends with benefits, because that'll reset your healing process again. Right. So every time that you sleep with someone else, you have sex with someone else, you start over again. So you realize that people never get healed because they want to hook up. Well, I'm not with this person, but just for sexual pleasures, you're with them today. And then a few months later on, you're with someone else. Listen, you're resetting your healing process every time you do that. You're starting over. But if you can go a few years and just, you know what, let me focus on me, let me build me up, God at the right time will send you someone. You might think that you need 3-4 years to get healed. And God says that, you know what, in a few months, you've been healed and you're making the right steps. Again, be healed. And then also, number 5, just be spontaneous. Godly men want spontaneous women, that we can, to be able to, they want someone they can be able to just listen. Spontaneity is key. It's key. You don't have to plan everything, and I know there's some women that they want you to plan out every single thing. Now, there's a place for that. There really is a place for that. But there's also a place just to be spontaneous where you can be able to just do things and just pick up and just go and, just kind of be that way. Spontaneity, it keeps the relationship spicy. It keeps the marriage spicy, and that makes a lot of difference. It makes a lot of difference because you don't want to have a stale relationship. Now, there are times when, of course, every marriage go through a stale process, right? Every relationship go through a stale process where, Michelle Obama was saying that for over 10 years, their marriage was just stale. Like he couldn't stand them. It was just not good enough over 10 years. So if you're not willing to put up with the stale years in a marriage, don't desire marriage or don't get married. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be that way for you, but you are going to have times, as with any relationship on the planet, you have stale periods where things are stale. They're not moving like they should. You're not feeling them like you should. So what are you going to do then? Well, you have some people that they give up, and you have some people that, think the grass is green on the other side. It's never green on the other side. It's green wherever you water it. So I really hope that today that if you're desiring a godly man, that these things, you can take these things and you can be able to apply them to your personal life. Because look, it is not God's desire for you to be a single mom. It's not. That is not the heart of God. That was never the intent. God never intended nor desire for you to be a single mother and stay that way. No. I get it. Things happen. But it is God's desire that you will find a godly man. And if you have a child, a man that will come into your life and love you, love your child or love your kids and be able to build from there, right? So that's what you need. That's what you need. But you have to have certain qualities to attract the right type of godly man. If you don't, you're going to repeat that same cycle, the same type of men over and over again, and you don't want that. So I hope that you found some value in this, lesson today. Hope that you can be able to use that, and that it's a blessing to you, that you can go back and look at yourself, re-examine yourself again and say, okay, what adjustments do I need to make? What changes do I need to make, to be this way? All right. So if you got any questions, feel free. I know I'm probably get a lot of comments, but feel free to, message me, comment, and I'll do the best that I can to, respond to those questions.